I wanted to start with a quote today, actually two quotes. So the first quote is by Sir James Jeans. He's a 20th century physicist and quite a thinker. And I'm reading his book right now, The Mysterious Universe. It's fabulous. So this quote from James Jeans. The stream of knowledge is heading toward a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than like a great machine. Mind no longer appears to be an accidental intruder into the realm of matter. We ought rather hail it as the creator and governor of the realm of matter. And the Buddha said something kind of similar, a little less verbose, about 2,500 years ago, that we are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. So we have been spending a lot of time talking about, through the wisdom teachings, really seeing the wisdom of impermanence and seeing how everything that is arising everything that is arising in each moment, that we are a part of creating whatever it is that's arising, that it's interdependent, that we are a part of the creation. And whether we're conscious of it or not, we are creating our reality. And so when we're doing it unconsciously, we tend to see that whatever is arising is happening independent of us, and that it's very limited, very fixed, the options. But through the teachings, the wisdom of emptiness, what we've come to see is that everything that is arising does not inherently exist from its own side, that we are imputing reality on top of whatever it is that's arising. And when we're conscious of this, we realize that there are infinite options of what we can be imputing on anything that is arising in any given moment. So for the next several weeks, we are going to, or maybe even several months, it depends on how long this is going to take us, we are really going to take the wisdom teachings that we've been learning and exploring, impermanence, interdependence, emptiness, and really go deep into exploring the mind, the universe, consciousness, to really understand how we are creating our reality. So we're going to take some big leaps. We're going to look at some questions like, is the universe really happening out there? Or is it happening in here? And while it appears as though the universe is out there, I will also just add, and that'll be a big class, that might take us a couple classes. For thousands of years, we thought the earth was flat because that's the way it appeared to us. And for thousands of years, we thought the sun revolved around the earth because that's the way it appeared to us. Just because something appears in one way, that doesn't mean that's how it really is. So we're going to really explore these, our understanding of emptiness, of interdependence, of the nature of reality in an even wider stance than we've been viewing it, to really understand how we are creating our reality. And as the Buddha said, and as Sir James Jeans says, it starts with our thoughts. And if we look at our thoughts, we have just 3 kinds of thoughts. We have pleasant thoughts, we have unpleasant thoughts, and then we have neutral thoughts. So we're not going to worry too much about the neutral thoughts today. But if we look at our pleasant thoughts as an example, when we have a pleasant thought, what follows is a pleasant feeling tone in our body, how we feel. And then what follows is a pleasant emotion. And if we have an unpleasant thought, what follows is an unpleasant feeling tone and then an unpleasant emotion. So we can't have a pleasant thought and end up with an unpleasant emotion. And we can't have an unpleasant emotion and end up with a pleasant feeling tone. Our thoughts are determining the way we feel, and then our emotions, the corresponding emotions. And our thoughts, while they are just little electrical impulses, kind of traveling through different neural networks, if we get down to the very core of what our thoughts are, just like everything in this universe, they're energy. They're simply energy. And the power of our thoughts, of their energy, is that they determine our overall energy. So from a pleasant thought, the energy of a pleasant thought, comes the energy of a pleasant feeling. When someone asks us how we're doing and we say we feel good, it's because we have good energy. We're feeling good energy in that moment. And then we have a good energetic emotion. And when we have when we have the pleasant energy feeling, the pleasant energy emotion that started with the pleasant energy thought, we see the world very differently than how we see the world if we're having the energy of unpleasant thoughts, or the energy of unpleasant feelings and unpleasant emotions. We see the world very differently depending upon what's going on inside of us. We are vibrating at different frequencies depending upon our thoughts, because our thoughts are directing our feelings and emotions, and we are just energy. So I'm not saying that if we're just having positive thoughts, that we're only attracting good things into our lives. What I am saying is that you will attract more good things into your life, but you still experience unpleasant conditions. It doesn't mean that you don't experience them, because we do live in this world of opposites. We can't, kind of change that. But what happens is the more that we have this positive energy, the more that we have these positive emotions, positive thoughts, when the difficult challenges arise, we are able to transform those challenges. We're into wisdom, into compassion. Remember we did the class several months ago, or a couple months ago, on how when the challenges arise in our lives, these are the opportunities for us to see if we're getting the teachings or not, right? Otherwise, how would we know if we were really understanding it or not? And so the more positive our energy, the more easily we're able to take the difficult situations that happen in our lives and just understand these are just obstacles. These are just trying to see if I'm getting it or not, right? It's just something new, change of plan, new adventure, right? Still flow with it, still roll with it. But if we have the negative energy, feeling tones and emotions and thoughts, when challenges happen, we tend to see them as, not just an obstacle to be overcome, but like a full-on wall in front of us, like a roadblock, like we can't go any further, and we start to feel like a victim, we start to feel hopeless. So again, creating a different reality for ourselves. And so in understanding that we are creating our reality, we have to understand how it is our thoughts that are changing the energy that we are feeling, and how our energy is affecting our reality. And so to do this work, to set this up, we need to get more in touch with our energy, to experience the energy that we're feeling on a day-to-day, on a moment-to-moment basis. So I want to take in the mindfulness teaching that we brought in last week with the kenosis, remember from the Christian contemplatives, this idea of this emptying of the vessel, kenosis. And I want to add this practice on for you with a little bit of a twist to how we did it last week. So to, of course, be practicing mindfulness and to be more aware of your energy when it's changing throughout the day. when it starts to shift a little bit, when it starts to become a little bit too, a little bit, it kind of speeds up a little bit because the mind's probably jumped a little bit too fast, a little bit ahead of where the body is. Maybe it's feeling a little bit sluggish. Maybe we're kind of fixating on something, that's something someone said, or some kind of an email we got, a bill we weren't expecting, right? Something kind of the mind is kind of lost in some kind of negative thoughts, therefore the negative feelings, the negative emotions that follow. And to be more aware of those feelings, the energy of it. Because we often don't notice the thoughts in any case. They're so fast. They're just in there so fast. But we do notice that something's changed in the way that we're feeling. And if we can just look at it from that bare basis of or bare awareness of understanding our energy in that moment, that's what's shifted. And if our energy has shifted, then we can take it back to understand it was our thoughts. There was something that we were thinking about that was causing our energy to shift. And we can do a practice where we're just doing it just on the energetic level and using that kenosis, that imagery of noticing, right? The ego always comes in with that little wobble. The unpleasant thoughts almost always come in with the ego. So we notice that wobble, the energy is starting to shift, right? And in that moment, to breathe into our heart center, right? To come back to what's real. And in that breathing in, and this is the little bit of the difference from last week, in the breathing in, taking that big breath, creating room for that unpleasant energy in that moment. Not pushing it away, not suppressing it, not denying that it's there, but really breathing into our heart center as though we're bringing that, the energy's there anyway, the unpleasant energy, but we're kind of bringing it to our heart center, but also creating space saying, you're here, it's okay. Breathing into it, and then as we exhale, the kenosis, the letting go of the energy that's ready to go. And to keep doing that, to keep using your breath, which the breath is just such a powerful vehicle to help bring our energy levels back down into a more equanimous, more peaceful state. But to do it in that mind of connecting back to the heart-centered energy, which is where the pleasant feelings come from, creating the space for it, and then as we exhale, emptying the vessel and just thinking of it as I'm letting go of the energy that's ready to go. I'm not pushing it away. I'm not saying it all has to go. And just keep doing that, taking those deep breaths until your energy normalizes back out again. Because if you stay in that negative mind state and in that negative energy field, the life you are creating is not the life you want. We need to shift our energy back. And so we need to be more aware of when our energy is changing so that we can shift the energy. And if there's something to do, right? It doesn't mean that, most of our thoughts, we're just creating problems, we're just making stuff up. But every now and then, there's actually something legitimate to do. But if you can still shift that energy field back into more of the pleasant energy, now you're seeing the world as, I can do this. Now I can approach this with more wisdom, more skillfully, more compassionately, right? It's not this big obstacle or this roadblock that I got to get out of the way. It's something like, how can I work with this, right? So we are actually wiser and more compassionate when we have more positive energy, when we have more pleasant energy, when we're coming from the heart, right? Because of course, we could also describe this as the pleasant thoughts arising from the heart. Kindness, love, compassion, generosity, gratitude, forgiveness, appreciation. And then we can look at the unpleasant thoughts arising from the ego. And we know where that's based in: anger, fear, resentment, jealousy, judgment, disappointment, victim. It's just, this is what we're dealing with here. Pleasant, unpleasant. If we're coming more from our heart center, if our energy is coming more from the heart center, more from these loving, kind, appreciative thoughts, feelings, and emotions, then we're seeing the world through that lens, and we're actually seeing things more clearly, and we're actually having a better life when we see things that way. So I want us to use that, to really use this mindfulness practice of our energy to get a better handle on our energy, so that we can notice when it's shifting, when we're downshifting into that unpleasant energy, to bring it back. We are creating our reality. If you let that negative energy take over, you are creating a reality you do not particularly care for.